So I'm here today to talk about basically how to get hired. Anyways, since somebody said, hi everyone, how are you doing today? So anyways, I am here to talk about following your dreams and getting involved in makeup, I don't know where that came out. So I'm here today to talk to you about getting hired in a retail makeup position. This is basically how to get hired. Anyways, there are many different brands who will want to interview you potentially, and maybe just one or two brands will want to interview you potentially. Anyways, certain brands may appeal to you more than others, and certain companies might find you more appealing than others. Just something to keep in mind. When you are applying for a retailer, it's always awesome just to get your foot in the door, and I really highly recommend not really concerning yourself with the vendor in mind. Now, first of all, it is a process to get into Nordstrom's or Macy's. It can take up to a month. Sometimes you won't hear back from them right away. Sometimes there's events going on, and this can push the interviews back or around or extend them. When you are walking into Macy's or Nordstrom's, I highly recommend going to one of their portals and applying for a job that you are very interested in. Now, some portals will say, don't apply for multiple positions within this company at this particular location. I'm actually going to tell you right now, when you are interested in multiple positions or interested in just getting your foot in the door, apply to all of those positions within the department you're interested in. And even if that department is not hiring and you really want to get your foot in the door, apply for that store regardless. But let them know, and there's a little section on the bottom of the Macy's one, I know, that you are interested in cosmetics. You want everyone to know extremely what you're interested in, because this will open a door for you later. So always be sure to leave a note and let them know what you're interested in. This is quintessential. Don't people please, let them know what you're interested in. But definitely be interested in any job. Okay, so applying for the job in the portal, you're going to be asked to take a survey. This assessment is about 40 minutes long to an hour. It is not timed within Macy's. It's not timed, which is wonderful, but definitely provide time to do it so you don't feel rushed. Let your friends and family know, hey, it's gonna take me at least an hour, and that's okay. Read the question very carefully, because some of them in the quiz are rephrased and reworded. They want to know how sincere you are. So in order to get an interview, you have to sincerely answer these questions. So you passed, let's just say you passed your questionnaire, and Lancome wants to interview you. Lancome is actually a L'Oreal-owned brand. Okay, with that being said, for example, go to the company website, go to the L'Oreal company website and submit your resume. I highly recommend doing this because not only does it give you double exposure from the vendor side, it also gives you exposure on Macy's side. And definitely when you're filling out this assessment, if it says where were you referred by, let them know you were referred by the Macy's website. This shows initiative and knowledge of the brand that you're interviewing for. Not only does brands like L'Oreal have a little section on their website where you can fill out an application and a questionnaire, Estee Lauder does as well. Estee Lauder owns a lot of brands. I highly recommend filling theirs out too. Now, the fun doesn't end there. There's an assessment with Louis Vuitton if you want to work for Benefit. I highly recommend going to Benefit's website and filling out their questionnaire there too. This seems a little extreme, but always refer to the store that you want to work at, which is Macy's, which is Ulta, which could be Sephora maybe even, but always refer. Now, even if you're just a customer of somebody who works at one of these stores, get to talking with them. Be really friendly with them and let them know that you're interested. And ask if they're hiring. This is somebody that you could potentially refer as well, if that's okay with them, but I highly recommend double checking. I wouldn't want to get off on the wrong foot, so show genuine interest and, make friends. And let's just say that there's almost nothing on your resume pertaining to cosmetic sales or sales in general. That's okay. It's okay. Like, just put your best foot forward. Sometimes personality is everything. Now, when it comes to getting your foot in the door, a lot of people will tell you, Oh, you know what would be best if you have cosmetic experience? Do you know what would be best if you had sales experience to begin with? You're not going to get hired in cosmetic sales if you don't have sales experience. You're not going to get hired in cosmetics if you don't have cosmetic experience. Guess what? All these are lies. These are all very negative people who want to tell you, fat chance. Okay, that's not really fair. Let's say you're genuinely really interested in makeup. Let's say you genuinely apply it beautifully on yourself, but you still need some work on applying it on others. That's okay. That's why you go to classes. It's okay. That's why the company provides classes. That's okay. That's why the company provides product knowledge. So don't get discouraged if you're not perfect. Practice makes perfect, okay? So let's just say you want to follow the rules, and Macy's and Nordstrom's really don't want people calling and don't want people just, you know, like walking in or whatever. I would just say use your better judgment and do what feels good as well. It can't necessarily hurt to show up, and it can't necessarily hurt to call unless they explicitly make it a point not to tell you not to do that. Obviously they're going to tell you not to do it because they don't want everybody and their mom coming back in and being like, yo, hey, so what's going on? Sometimes this is a very lengthy process because they have to you know, evaluate a lot of people. They have to call the vendors. So that is exactly why I say get a leg up on all of it and go to company websites and outsource to apply and submit your resume within there. That way the vendors are like, okay, I like this person. I like this person's initiative. Because if you are offered the job, you're probably going to have to fill out that assessment on that website anyways, in order to get these phone interviews, in order to get these interviews with the coordinators. And when you do get these interviews with the coordinators, especially if you're going to be working for Estee Lauder, you're going to be getting a phone interview called the Talent Plus interview. Now there's actually two variations for the Talent Plus interview in regards to sales. There is the Beauty Advisor Talent Plus interview, and then there's the Counter Manager Studio Plus interview. I won't go into extreme detail, but these questions are not considered a test, and they are based off of sincerity and positivity. So come with your positive A game and be sincere. Answer the questions the way you see fit, not the way you think the person's gonna want you to answer them, because that's usually how they feel like you've scripted yourself. I also highly would not recommend looking up this exam online. You're not really going to locate the questions because they're not given in any form of a draft. They are all verbal. There's no way everybody is gonna be able to remember every single question that was asked. And also pay very close attention to questions that are being re-asked as well. Sometimes they're getting rephrased. They're getting rephrased because they want your sincerity once more. So just be aware of that, but don't read too much into it. Don't try to study too much on it, because you'll find a lot of bad reviews on this test on Reddit, on YouTube. So I'm not going to say anything towards it aside from the fact that you are getting an emotionless interviewer. Just be aware of that, who's going to ask you questions about what would you do in this situation. They're very typical questions any interviewer would ask. It's just that it's over the phone and they're not going to show any emotion and be sincere. And they'll tell you that too. They're going to tell you that right now, that it is scripted and to be sincere. So you should already kind of know to go from there. This helps kind of weed out people that they think would be good and wouldn't be good. Talent Plus is actually not a company site that is ran by Lauder. A lot of companies use it to help them identify talent, and it's basically a narrow down process so that they don't have to go through all these papers in their busy lives. And so it's actually a positive thing. Now let's say you go ahead and you pass the Talent Plus interview because you were sincere and you were positive. Okay, and you didn't look up any of the negative reviews online. Don't do that. Don't do it at all. The less you know, the better. This is really a wing it quiz. And what I like about an emotionless interview as well, if you fumble, if you feel uncomfortable in any shape or form, because it's all like typed out and stuff like that, it gives you the opportunity to shine like the star you are, because we all get nervous during interviews. So kick back, relax, get your favorite cup of tea, eat your food right before you take the exam, and just feel confident and comfortable. You don't have to get all dressed up. It's a very comfortable test. Okay, So from there, a coordinator should call you if you pass the exam, and then an executive coordinator should call you should you pass the exam. These people have already been in your shoes. These people have been beauty advisors, counter managers, and most likely they have worked for Macy's. If they haven't worked for Macy's, they have worked at the store. Or they work, you know, that's how it is. So just once again, they've already seen the way you answered the Talent Plus exam. So you're going to want to think back as to how you answered it. That's why it's important to be sincere, because 3 times you have to show your sincerity, your honesty, and basically you're reiterating a very similar exam. So be consistent, be very consistent, show up on time, show up wherever you need to go. Even if you have to drive an hour out of your way, show up. It's just an exam, it's just an hour, it'll be done and over with, and you'll get the job potentially. If not, you may have to start all over fresh with another vendor, but as long as you were really, really good in those interviews, you won't have to go through the process of interviewing with the head manager all over again. You won't have to go through that again. You'll just have to start fresh with the vendor. So that's also why it's very important to put a lot of hot irons in that fire and to apply on the company websites. Louis Vuitton, Estee Lauder, L'Oreal. Also, just know if you are cruelty-free and vegan, that these are options, that these are brands you may or may not have to work for. Even if you are cruelty-free and vegan, you're like, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and just be like, you know, I'm gonna apply at Sephora, so I'm not directly selling something I don't believe in. Just so you know, Sephora is owned by Louis Vuitton. Just something else to be very, very aware of. And Kendo is a branch of Louis Vuitton and Sephora who owns other brands as well. So there really is like a peer, and that's really why they say that cruelty-free has so many gray areas. So just something to be aware that when you are in your work atmosphere in a day-to-day life, you are going to have to find what it is about your brand that you believe in. You don't have to actually wear it. You have to look like you're wearing it, but you have to be able to sell it like it's something you believe in. You have to know what you're doing. Now, I've worked for natural skincare before as well, so it's very close to my heart. And so that's always an easier sell. For me, it is something I believe in, but just know you're going to be getting customers potentially that are very similar to you. If you're working like, you know, with Bare Minerals or with Origins or something like that, you're going to get clients that are very, very similar to you that might get very upset when they find out who owns your brand. All you can be is stoic. That's all you can be. Because Macy's wants you to be that way, because your brand wants you to be stoic, because it's not okay to represent them and throw them under the bus. You just have to understand that everybody thinks differently, and that's just, everybody thinks differently, and that's it. There's of course other options. If you're somebody who believes only in the cruelty-free and the natural brands, you can always work for Beauty Collections. Is a fast-paced growing brand right here in California right now. They do carry a lot of vegan and cruelty-free brands that a lot of beauty bloggers have been talking about, that they're very famous because of YouTube, like the Makeup Eraser, potentially, let's just say hypothetically, Jeffree Star would wind up there, things like that. Of course, there's always internet cosmetic sales. You could sell through the internet. You could be a social media brand ambassador. You could sign on YouTubers. Those YouTubers may or may not believe in exactly what you believe in as well. So there's different angles of the cosmetic industry, and then there's freelance industry. And just to let you know, not all freelance products are going to be cruelty-free and vegan either. Not all brushes are going to be synthetic. And so this is just a huge, huge thing that you have to sort out and think through. And what I came to terms with was that, well, I could be selling these products to that I do believe in, to a woman who believes in them, and they work fantastically, or I could work at a restaurant selling products I don't believe in, that I'm not even going to be eating, that I can't even attest to. So I mean, there's always that. So at the end of the day, you just have to do you. And you have to understand that you're helping people and that this is art, and that's a beautiful thing. And do you. Anyways, so that's about it about how to get hired. A lot of people say bend the truth, bend the rules. I do know a lot of people who've gotten hired from lying. I think that they get caught. I think it catches up to you. It's either in your performance that shows to the other artists if you lie, because people will boast about you. You know, people will talk and they'll be like, you know what, she blah blah put this on a resume, but I saw her like not even wiping the product off and putting on a client. Like, I don't really think she has experience. So, I mean, you definitely want to point out your strong suits and what you've done, but at the same time, you don't want to be a liar. You want to point out things you've done. Like, you could say, well, I've sold products on makeup products on YouTube, I have sponsorships, I have endorsements. So technically, you do have a selling experience, and that's something to think about as well. It shows initiative, it shows entrepreneurship, it shows time and energy and personal investment. And so I would definitely, if you're somebody who does run a blog or whatever, that's also something to bring into attention. And it wouldn't be a lie if you said you've sold products, because if you've ever done a YouTube video before, some companies will ask you to share a piece of that script or to take points, bullet points, and spin them in your own words. And some brands will say, if you review this, will you say this? If you like it. If you don't like it, email me back. So those are all just like points to notice. All brands are going to want to look good. And if the product doesn't work for you the way the company wants it to work, find a way. Find a way to make it work. Find a different use for it even. Don't just look at it as it doesn't work, so I don't like it. There was a product I sold and I didn't like the color range of the CC cream. Well, you know what I came to find? When it was paired with a powder foundation, it's like a really nice, beautiful powder foundation that left a glowy, velvety, like, but silky texture to the skin. When it was put over the CC creams, which were not like the best color range, it was velvety, it was silky, it was soft, it was smooth, and the powder looked better, and it almost looked like liquid foundation, but with a very sheer, little tiny two-step process. So if it doesn't work for you straight out of the bottle, find a use for it. Chances are, if it doesn't work for you a certain way, it may not work for somebody else that certain way. But don't discount the product. If it was marketed for a specific purpose, it's gotta work for somebody that way. So just all points, all bullet points. So that's my advice on how to get hired. I don't know anything about getting hired at MAC. I do know it's a process. You have to start as a freelancer. Macy's doesn't hire MAC artists. You have to go through MAC. So if that's something that you're interested in, don't get yourself a job. Don't get yourself a job at Macy's hoping to go straight into a MAC counter, if that makes any sense. If you don't know what vendor you want to work for, but you want to get your foot in the door, try Flex Team. Flex Team is awesome because it's an on-call job where you basically get to pick your own counters you want to work for all week. Whoever calls out, you get to work at their counter, you get to work their shift, you get to, whether it's a part-time shift or full-time shift, either one, and you get full experience at all the counters except MAC. So, but like I said, I personally don't think it matters what vendor you work for. If it's a matter of getting your foot in the door, you'll get a chance to try everything. Some days if it's slow, they'll be like, hey, can you spend an hour at Clarins, you know? And you're gonna have to spend an hour at Clarins, or you're gonna have to spend an hour at Bare Essentials, or you're gonna have to spend 5 minutes at Shiseido, or even just a second explaining a Chanel perfume. So don't limit yourself to vendors only, but don't be sharky, okay? All right, well, I'll see you guys in the next video, and thank you.